Today we're going to jump back in time, about 5,000 years, to tell the incredible story of how humanity built its very first cities and invented a tool that would change absolutely everything: writing.
Because that's really the big question here, isn't it? When you're the first to do something this massive, there's no blueprint, there's no instruction manual. You are literally solving problems that no one in history has ever had to face before.
Okay, so our story kicks off right here, in a place the ancient Greeks called Mesopotamia, which just means the land between the rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. And as you can see, it was a land of real contrasts. Up north, you had these rolling hills that got plenty of rain for crops. But down south, it was basically a desert that, thanks to those rivers, could be turned into some of the most productive farmland on the entire planet. This unique geography was the perfect cradle for a revolution.
So, what was the first domino to fall? The one big change that set everything else in motion. Well, it was the shift from a nomadic hunter-gatherer life to settling down and farming.
Around 7000 BCE, people in this region finally cracked the code of agriculture. And it was a total game changer. But as you can see, it was kind of a double-edged sword. Their amazing success created a whole new set of problems on a scale that hunter-gatherers could never have even imagined.
Think about it. All of a sudden, you've got a surplus of food. Where do you store it? How do you distribute it fairly? You have huge groups of people all living in one place. Who organizes them? And you have these new trade networks bringing in things from far, far away. How on earth do you manage all of this?
Well, the answer to all of this brand new complexity was one of the most radical, most powerful inventions in all of human history: the city.
Now, you got to understand, a city isn't just a place with a lot of people. It's a complex system. It's all about something we call urbanism, a division of labor where people start to become specialists. They aren't just farmers anymore. Suddenly you have craftspeople, traders, priests, administrators, the whole shebang.
And this right here is a perfect illustration of that. This is the Warka head, found in the ancient city of Uruk. It's carved from beautiful white marble that was imported from hundreds of miles away. Think of what that took: a skilled artisan to carve it, a complex trade network to get the stone, and a society rich enough to support art for art's sake. That, right there, is urbanism in action.
But here's the thing. There was a catch. As cities boomed, the human brain was, well, it was hitting its storage limit. Trying to manage thousands of people and all that complex trade using just your memory and the spoken word was becoming next to impossible. They needed a master tool to handle it all.
And this brings us to the ultimate solution, an invention that would basically give civilization an external hard drive and allow it to truly, truly scale: writing.
So around 3200 BCE, the very first writing shows up, and get this, it wasn't for poetry or for recording history. Nope, it was for accounting. It started out as simple pictures, a symbol for an ox, another one for grain, and then some marks for numbers. But over time, these pictures got more and more abstract, eventually evolving into what we call cuneiform, a script made of wedge-shaped marks that could represent sounds, not just things.
And just look at how quickly things took off. This tablet here, even though it's hard for us to read now, it's not a simple grocery list. Archaeologists have figured out it's actually a math exercise for a student from around 1800 BCE. This shows that writing wasn't just for keeping records anymore. It had become the essential tool for education and for passing complex knowledge down through the generations.
There's this great old Sumerian epic about a king named Enmerkar. He sent a messenger on a really long journey with a super complicated message, but by the time the messenger got there, he'd completely mangled it. The king got so frustrated, he just grabbed a piece of clay and wrote the message down. That story perfectly captures the gigantic leap this was, from unreliable memory to a permanent, precise record.
Okay, so with these powerful new tools, cities and writing, what was life actually like for the people living in them day to day?
Well, this gives us a great glimpse into the two sides of that coin. On the left, you see these carvings that show the rise of powerful leaders, warrior kings who could provide security. But then on the right, you see a map of the city of Ur, and it's all narrow, winding, unplanned streets. It was this mix of top-down order and, well, bottom-up chaos.
Yeah, excavations at Ur paint a really vivid picture. The streets were so narrow and winding, they weren't really designed for carts. Houses were all built around central courtyards to get some light and air, and people would just throw their trash out into the street, which meant the street level itself would slowly rise over time. It was a bustling, organic, and probably pretty messy place to call home.
So in these crowded, complex cities, How did you prove something was actually yours? How would you sign a contract? That's where these incredible little tools came in, cylinder seals. As you can see, each person had their own unique seal, like a little rolling pin that they would roll across wet clay. It was their personal signature, a mark of ownership and authenticity that was absolutely vital for trade and law.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this all happened 5,000 years ago. What's it got to do with me? Well, it turns out that Mesopotamia's solutions to their problems are still with us every single day.
For instance, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why there are 60 seconds in a minute or 60 minutes in an hour?
The answer comes directly from Mesopotamia. Their number system, which was based on the number 60, is the very reason we divide time the way we do. But it doesn't stop there. Their groundbreaking work in math and astronomy that gave us calendars, multiplication tables, and even the world's first libraries.
And just listen to this quote. It's from an Assyrian king, Ashurbanipal, way back in the 7th century BCE. And it sounds so incredibly modern. He's talking about collecting and preserving knowledge on these tablets for the future. He understood that the power of writing wasn't just for today, it was for creating a legacy that lasts.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The Mesopotamians were just solving the pressing problems of their time. Food storage, social organization, keeping records. And the solutions they invented, the city and writing, ended up defining all of human history. So it kind of begs the question, what are the fundamental problems we're solving today that will define what civilization looks like 5,000 years from now?